From personal responsibility to how the mind and spirit intersect with each other, Jordan Peterson has spoken of a number of empowering life lessons. But of course, if you want any of these to work, you need to take personal responsibility. This is the first and foremost principle that Jordan has taught us. If you want to succeed in life, you need to take responsibility for your actions. Things work differently once you realize that short-term or long-term, in the end, it will be you paying the consequences for your actions. People tend to blame others for their own problems. After all, nobody likes admitting that they are the reason that their life isn't going well right now. So they rely on others and external circumstances to take the guilt themselves and feel at ease. This may work for a while, but inevitably it will bite you in the back. On the other hand, Peterson pointed out that if you take responsibility for your own actions, you will work carefully and also gain a sense of control over your life, preventing it from spiraling out of control. Though if you still feel like nothing's going your way, you have to take more precise steps. Set goals. Jordan stated that setting goals and working towards them slowly but surely is the key to success. I know we all think of something we want to do, but we tend to give up without even trying because it just seems so difficult. But the thing is, you don't need to make significant progress in a small amount of time. Take it step by step. As long as you have achievable and small goals that you can complete in the near future, but will help you reach your ultimate goal in the long run, it's fine. Just when you think you've made no progress, all you need to do is actually reflect back to where you were and where you are standing right now. And you'll realize that yes, not only have you made progress, but a whole lot of it. Like they say, you don't realize you've improved because you keep on raising the bar higher. But still, sometimes you try and try, but you just can't achieve something. That means it's time to focus on your strengths. People tend to get stuck on their weaknesses. That only makes them even more apparent. All you need to do is make sure they don't hinder your progress. But it's fine if they can't help with it. After all, that's what our strengths are for, right? Jordan emphasized that instead of dwelling on what you can't do, you should instead look for what you can do.
Yeah, I've been here for this whole thing.
Okay, well, I don't know that. It's a genuine question. I think that's what's happening is that we're pushing over a line we shouldn't cross.
Build it up, and soon you will realize that you feel more confident in your skin. That's because realizing that you are good at something, even if you aren't good at another, gives you a kind sense of purpose. But focusing on your weaknesses will only make it harder for you to feel like you're worth it. Of course, there are times it isn't you, but somebody else points out your weaknesses. That's when you need to stand up for yourself. People love to point out others' flaws and mistakes, but you can't just let that get to you. You're human, of course you're not perfect. And Peterson is extremely adamant about the fact that every person has the right to stand up for themselves. He stated that this can help the person develop a sense of confidence and self-respect a person cannot gain if he relies on other people. So, even if you did make a mistake, you should of course accept rectification. Open and unnecessarily harsh criticism and oppression? Don't stand for it. Letting someone decide whether you're wrong or flawed isn't acceptable if you want to feel powerful and in control. Of course, as I mentioned before, this by no means that you should ignore every argument made against you or that everyone correcting you is in the wrong. Instead, embrace the discomfort of being wrong and how it challenges you. According to Jordan, growth and self-improvement will come naturally once you embrace discomfort and challenge. Once you face what you fear and step outside your comfort zone, you're able to become resilient and develop a sense of personal strength. Of course, this doesn't just apply to you. If someone close to you is suffering, then you must support them. But you also mustn't let them fall prey to the victim mentality. Once that happens, they start to lose their character in their illness, and it's game over. Jordan himself also has experience with this, as his daughter was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at the age of just 2.
Hip replacement. So I was told at 16 that I would need a hip replacement before the age of 30 because of the state my hip was in. And in the next 6 months, it got so much worse that I needed a hip replacement.
According to Jordan, one shouldn't protect his children from the world completely. He should expose them to the world at the appropriate times to allow them to get stronger by embracing all the challenges thrown at them. This is exactly what Jordan did with his daughter. He and his wife took good care of her while also not enabling her to make her disease into a lifelong crutch. They taught her she could still be empowered and independent in spite of her situation. Now, we all want to advise and support our loved ones, but it's difficult to do without a sincere relationship.
Hey guys, as you may know, I did a TEDx talk in the summer about my experience with the Lion diet, the all-meat diet that put my autoimmune disorder that caused crippling arthritis and gave me 2 joint replacements into remission.
Jordan places a huge amount of importance on developing meaningful relationships. The nature of these relationships can be romantic or familial. At the end of the day, it's about building a strong connection with someone that you care about.
I would be more inclined to trust someone who thinks there's something higher than himself. And then you might say, well, what is it that's higher than ourselves? And that's worth thinking about. And
doing this allows people to gain love, support, and a sense of belonging. As per Jordan, successful relationships are all about making a space where the boundaries between you two are clearly defined. Also, each person should be able to trust the other to be open about their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. One of the most important ways to build trust is to have everything out in the open. That way, you can settle any disputes quicker and will have fewer issues to deal with in the future. But that's not all, of course.
And I make that, what would you call it, opinion quite clear. But for me, most of this is a matter of psychological endeavor, not political endeavor.
A relationship also needs effort, cooperation, and preparation by both people. But the most important thing might just be to communicate. Doing that helps prevent things that can destroy relationships quite quickly, like jealousy and insecurity. No matter how much advice someone gives you, it will all fall on deaf ears if you lack impulse control. That comes from self-discipline.
To discipline yourself not to use your language in a manipulative manner. It doesn't work. It's a very, very bad medium to long-term strategy.
Jordan also tells us time and time again to practice self-discipline. Just what is self-discipline? Well, it's the power to get yourself to take action regardless of whether you're willing to do that or not. He says that without it, we cannot be successful and achieve personal growth. On the other hand, if we practice self-discipline by setting rules for ourselves and sticking to them, we'll develop a feeling of accomplishment and self-control. In the end, self-discipline doesn't come easy for anyone. It needs to be developed steadily from the ground up.
Are most likely to rise to the top, none of which is even vaguely true, by the way. It's just not the case. Then I'm the avatar of that particular image, at least for some people. And usually people who think that of me.
Now, there is a ton of stuff that we lack in our life, but there's also a lot of stuff that we have that we should be thankful for. That's why Jordan also tells us to cultivate gratitude.
And so, like, that's a lot of contradictory ideas, and that's probably only like half the contradictory ideas that are running through your mind at the moment. You know, so man, you're so full of contradictions.
If we develop a sense of gratitude for everything good in our life, it can improve our sense of mental health and well-being. If we keep our focus on what we have rather than what we don't, it develops a positive mindset.
The multiplicity of ways that people can be divided into groups, and the classical, postmodern, and I would also say Marxist way of viewing the world.
It also gives us a feeling of abundance. If we just stop and think about it, no doubt we'll find many things to be grateful for.
Like, if you let her get through that initial bit of misery, then she would learn how to regulate herself, and she got very good at that.
Well, this is all for Jordan Peterson's life lessons that will make you powerful.